Live from Las Vegas, the entertainment capital of the world, it's the Joe Cortez Show.
Hi, welcome to the Joe Cortez Show here in Las Vegas, Nevada, the boxing capital of the world, and of course, the entertainment capital of the world. Today we have a special guest who's well-renowned for what he does in boxing. He's well-known as one of the best cut men in the business. I call him sometimes James Olmos, Edward James Olmos. He looks almost like him. Okay, my dear friend here, Jacob Stich Duran, who's a special guest because not only is he special as a guest, but because he's a special friend of mine. I love him dearly, and we can go back and talk about many stories, but I'll bring him on the show here.
Thanks for having me, Joe.
Stich, it's always a pleasure.
Man,
we love you, man. You are it's an honor to have you on our show today because there are not many people I can say I can bring on the show and deal with so much blood, and yet it's one of the nicest guys in the world. Not that he causes the blood, but he's like a doctor. He stops all the bleeding during the major fights. Now, you've been in there with some of the greatest fighters of all times, working the corners, but you also been a movie star.
Right.
Been in several movies, maybe like 6 movies. Can you tell our fans out there a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, you know, Joe, thanks for having me here. I feel like I'm in the Johnny Carson show here, brother. Nice show, man. You guys are really tuning in and enjoy a good show. But, you know, I have a great history. I grew up as a farm worker in the San Joaquin Valley of California, which is the agricultural capital of the world. I grew up, my birth certificate says CPC Camp Number 12 for the California Packing Company. So that's what I did all my life, right? Yeah, people don't realize that, we all come from hardships, but I always wanted to be a professional baseball player and walked down to college and had to have a car. So I couldn't continue, so I joined the Air Force in 1970.
Were you decent in baseball?
I could play baseball, man. That's why, I could play baseball.
You can hit the ball pretty good?
Of course, and I was a third baseman, and I could pick up, I could scoop, and, so I know I had the potential definitely for the college. And,
okay, go ahead.
And I'm working, but I had to leave, and I didn't even tell the coach. I knew nothing about scholarships, about grants, and so I just joined the military and went to Thailand in 1974. I started in 72. And I saw my first Muay Thai fight. And the guy kicked the guy right in the head and
knocked him out?
Knocked him out, man, just like you see in the old Chinese kung fu movies.
Yeah.
So I was in, man. So I started training and got back to Oakland when I retired from the Air Force and got into boxing at King's Gym, where Andre Ward trained at, and just to improve my hands. And then I opened up my own school of kickboxing. And from there, I trained fighters, I promoted fights, I managed them. I did everything, Joe. But I liked the cuts, and I made the move to Vegas 23 years ago, just to follow my dreams, and here we are on the Joe Cortez Show.
Well, I remember one of the days I want to talk to you fans about what happened one time when I was called to Sylvester Stallone one day, tapped me on the shoulder and said, Joe, I'm doing a movie, and I want you to be the referee of my movie, Rocky Balboa. Yeah. I said, sure, it'd be an honor. So anyway, we went into the set. And we started meeting before the pre-production to talk about how the movie was going to take place and my role, what I was going to do. But Sylvester Stallone looked at me and said, Joe, I want this movie. He said, I've done 5 already, but this one I really wanted to make it look, the boxing scene, I wanted it to look authentic as possible. How can you help me with that? Can you help me with that? I said, sure. He said, you want me to get extras? I mean, like real boxing people? I can do that for you. He said, that's what I want. So I said, okay, you got it. So I called Mark Radnick, the executive director, and I called him and said, Mark, listen, Sylvester Stallone had asked me, I'm going to be in the movie, but he wants me to kind of help him out with real boxing individuals. So I need all the phone numbers for cutmen, trainers, boxers, judges, referees, timekeepers. I ended up bringing 23 individuals into the movie. But one night I called Stich Duran. I said, Stich, listen, I want to see if you're interested in being part of a movie. We're doing Rocky Balboa, and I want to use you as a cut man for the movie. And he says, tell him what you told me.
So Joe calls me. I'm excited. I have a fight already scheduled, a world championship fight in Paris, France, with Fabrice Tiozzo. The next week, I'd be going to London to work with Audley Harrison, which won the gold medal for the heavyweight division for England. So Joe calls me and says, "Hey, look, man, we got a role for you in the Balboa movie," and I said, Joe, I can't do it. I said, I have this fight here, this fight there. And at that time, I'm on the computer. I'm already negotiating my
Travel?
The travel and everything with a guy in London. And I sat there for about 30 minutes, Joe. And I thought, you know what? I talked to my wife.
What did your wife tell you?
Well, I talked to my wife. I called her at work. I said, hey, I got called for this movie, and I can't do it. She goes, are you crazy? She goes, you have to do it. Rocky's an American icon. You have to do it. And I thought, I'm negotiating with these people. I deleted the email, and I sent them one that I hope you understand. I got called to do the Balboa movie, they did.
But then you called me back.
Then I called you back, and I said, Joe, is that opening still available? And sure enough, you gave me the green light.
Yeah, I said, you're on, man. I'm glad I got you because, man, I think you're one of the best cut men out there.
You.
And on top of that, you're a good-looking guy. You'd be perfect for the movie.
Edward James Olmos, right? Of course. Yeah, and it's funny because Stallone, when we did the Creed movie, we're sitting around during the break, and his buddy saying, "Oh yeah, Stich is this and that, great cut man. He looks like Edward James almost, Edward James almost, and like this. Stallone is like this." He goes, "Oh, more like Edward James almost." There's no counterpunch to that, right?
Right.
What could I tell Stallone? So that was awesome.
Yeah. No, it's an honor to talk to you about your past history on that. But I know you've been working with fighters and hand wraps. I know we've had some issues most recently with Triple G, Gennady Golovkin, and Saul Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah.
There's been some issues about the hand wraps. What can you tell us about that?
Well, Bob Bennett called me, and I guess
Bob Bennett, the executive director, the United States Athletic Commission.
Yeah, exactly. He had called me, and there was an issue with the first fight. Abel Sanchez was complaining that Canelo stacked the wraps, gauze tape, and he thought that gave the fighter an unfair advantage. So Bob called me, and so Bob and I sat down, and my job is to educate, Joe, and one of the things I specialize in is wrapping hands. And the only reason you wrap a hand is so you don't break it. I don't care what anybody says. The rule calls 1 inch away from the knuckles coming back. Right. However, you wrap that hand to protect the metacarpals.
Nothing over the knuckles.
As long as it's, everything stays the same with the padding as the opponent, there should be no question on whether it's stacked this way or stacked that way.
And we're talking about putting tape on, gauze, tape, gauze.
Yeah, a lot of the Mexican coaches do that, which isn't a bad wrap, So the next day, Bob brought in a hand specialist, a microsurgeon that deals with the hands, and I did the same. I wrapped his hands one way and the other, and he didn't see that in his advantage. So in doing that, then they went forward, the commission went forward, and they made this fight happen with the understanding that the wrap that Canelo has is within the guidelines of the Nevada State Athletic Commission.
Can we show our viewers out there how the hand wrap takes place?
Yeah, well, which one do you want? Do you want the stack wrap or do you want the regular wrap? It's up to you.
Let's do the regular wrap.
All right. Do that.
Let's do the wraps so people can see what we're talking about. That they felt it was a disadvantage to one fight over the other. And let's show them
Let's
how
do
it's
that.
done.
We can do that right now, man. It's like a quick process. And we've already prepped up, obviously. So, all right. So, first and foremost, this is the padding that we make. Some people, it depends. I consider that a medium pad. It's like 45 revolutions around my fingers.
Right.
And that fits around the knuckles so that you can get that padding. Just keep your hands open. And I keep your hands open, just lift it up a little bit. And the reason I do that so that it doesn't get too tight, right? So we start off here at the wrist, protect the wrist. Obviously, I always go under the knuckles. So I always go 3, 1, 2, and 3. And then I'll put that padding. And like I said, the padding is there for one purpose only, and that's to protect the knuckles. So, and then we kind of lock it in. So this is the under wrap that Abe Sanchez was talking about. Well, this is your basic start of a wrap. All right, and then here's where I'll show you where the controversy came in with Canelo and Triple G. So I put the first coating of the gauze underneath, and obviously, you don't want tape on the hand because if you got hair, it's definitely going to hurt. All right, now you close it. Close it. So we start off and take it down to the wrist. All right. Okay, open. Close it. Open again. Close it. Open again. Close it. Close it, Joe. Open.
Meanwhile, I'm focusing my mind, getting ready to kick that guy's butt.
Yeah. Well, psychologically, just keep it closed. Psychological at this point is very important because you're getting ready to go to battle, brother. So that's a coat, right? And then they apply the second layer of gauze. And then at that point, open. I'm asking you, how did it feel, Joe? You okay? It's not too tight, too loose. Keep it open.
Good. Feels good. I'm not worrying too much about it. I'm gonna knock him out anyway.
That's what we want to do. I'm giving you the knockout wrap.
Okay.
And like in MMA, I have what they call the knockout wrap and the tap out wrap, and it's all based on psychology, Joe. I want to make sure that when you go out to battle that things are done right for you, right?
And this is the same kind of wrapping you do to MMA fighters.
Yes, except we don't put the extra padding because if it works for boxers, it should work for MMA. All right. So then this is the second layer of gauze that we go over. All right, and then close it again, Joe.
I'm ready. I feel ready. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I know.
I'm ready to go.
The adrenaline's kicking in, right?
Get those gloves on, man. I'm ready.
All right. Open again. Close it. All right. Open again. Close it. So yeah, the issue was this open, that this is the point, but close it. Well, you'll tell me. Oh, just keep it closed. You tell me if this is going to make a difference in your performance.
I can tell you right now.
Feels like a brick.
I feel like I'm gonna knock him out easily.
Yeah. Well, just your skills alone, Joe. Come on now. Who are you, the kid?
Well, I can still got a little spark of the old flash,
Open? Yeah, of course. I've seen you work out, man. I wouldn't mess with you. And even though I got legs, I'm sure my legs are better than yours. I could kick you, but when it comes to the hands, brother, it's not much I could do there.
I don't know about that anymore, but I can still got make some moves,
Yeah.
I can feint you a little bit and bob and weave and throw a combination. Hopefully I can knock you out with the right hand. If the right one don't get you, the left one will.
Right, exactly. There we go. All right, now we start turning. Now we start going between the fingers. And the reason you go between the fingers is just to hold that padding in place. Turn it, close it. And then I find that little groove between the knuckles, and I'll lay that tape. Turn it, open. How's it feeling so far?
I tell you, man, I'm ready to go.
Turn it, close it. But I get that all the time, Joe, because I understand this. Turn it open. If we were in the old gladiator days, I'd be the guy in the dungeon putting the armor on you before you went out to the arena. Turn it and fought for your life, right? So these are between the fingers. Then we start closing it up. All right, so let's do the same format.
See, viewers out there, this is what I'm talking about, having a real good pro cut man.
Yeah, turn it in. Yeah, I've done, close it. I'd probably say I've opened. I'll probably wrap more hands than close it. Anybody in the industry. Close it, Joe?
I guess
I do so much MMA and all that, right?
So you travel around the world, people call you up, promoters, managers call you and say, we need you for this fight.
Yeah, close it. Just keep it going.
You just tell them, sign on the dotted line.
That's what I do.
On the line and send me my airfare. Get me out there.
Hotel, airfare, per diem.
Yeah.
Who's picking me up? Open again. Yeah, who's picking me up at the airport?
Right. And then you're ready to go.
Yeah. I did a show in China open, and I waited for the guy to pick me up. He never did. Me and the other cut man. So we took a cab to the hotel. Close it.
And you in China? In China?
In China, in Shanghai. So it was no big thing, but they gave me $1,000 of 1,000 apologies. I said, man, open.
So you had to talk to the taxi driver.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
He said, yeah, which way?
Yeah.
You said, I'm that way, north.
Yeah, because I wouldn't know where to go. I wouldn't know where to go at all. Yeah. But yeah, so anyway, so that's what I do. I negotiate with them and set up a fee and time and place. And
so if you guys out there watching, promoters, managers around the world, this is the man.
Close it. So that's the wrap right there.
That's a wrap. If you want somebody to knock out the opponent, just call me in because I feel like I got the knockout power right here. Boom!
Yeah.
Boom.
Come on, give me one shot. Let's see if we take. There we
Slow
go.
motion.
Boom.
Slow motion.
That's a wrap. Look at Joe, still got that skill. But you know what? In seriousness, this is a confidence that I give a fighter when he's going out to battle. I've had some guys I'm wrapping their hands and they're crying.
Yeah.
But I understand because their adrenaline is so pumped up.
They're crying so you had the hand wrapped up too tight?
No, it's because their adrenaline is just pumped up.
I thought they were crying because you were hurting them.
I can fix anything, brother. If there's an issue, I can fix anything. So
Anyway,
that's the wrap.
Okay, so anyway, we're going to make a quick cut like you do after the fight.
Yes, we
you
do.
You cut
Take
them up
it
real
off.
quick. This is how it happens. You know the kind of scissors he uses has a round tip on it so it doesn't cut your skin. You know, and then
he just pulled it off.
He pulls it right off. Look at that. You see that? And now we're gonna keep this glove here. This here.
Here, let me fix that for you, Joe.
We're gonna keep this for a souvenir to put it in the Joe Cortez Faber Firm Boxing Hall of Fame Museum.
and congratulations on your Hall of Fame. You know, I'm checking out Joe's rings, man, and I thought he was King Tut or something like that because he's all diamond studded and gold and all that. And
I had to take them off to get my hands wrapped. So,
but you earned those titles, Joe, because you're the best at what you do, man.
The Hall of Fame ring was special, getting inducted with Mike Tyson, Sylvester Stallone, Julio Cesar Chavez, Nacho Berenstein, and Costa Tzu, the class of 2011. Yeah. But you know, Sylvester Stallone getting inducted into the Boxing Hall of Fame, a lot of people felt that, you know, how come he getting inducted? He's not a fighter.
Yeah, you know, I had a problem with that, and because I think Rocky has done so much for the game. Whether he did it in cinema and movies, but what he's brought the spirit of fighting to TV, and he deserves to be in that Hall of Fame. Well, you know, yeah, I mean, look at you get referees. You get judges, you get guys that are matchmakers and all that. Why not Rocky Balboa?
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, to have a shot to get an Oscar too, because I've been in his movies. I've done several movies, so maybe I got a shot for an Oscar, because if he got it in boxing, I deserve to get one at the Oscars. So you'll see me one day on the red carpet walking out there with my buddy here, Stich Duran, said, "Stich, we made it, buddy.
Yeah. Well,
you've been in 6 movies. I've been in 4. We both getting an Oscar tonight."
Well, I was going to say, just don't steal my thunder, Joe. But you're saying both of us, so I'm good with that.
Yeah, of course, man. Yeah. But anyway, but going back now, some of the great fights that you've worked at the corner of, besides working Sylvester Stallone, his corner as a cut man, because I was a referee.
Yes.
And we had Antonio Tarver, Mason Dixon in the movie. You were working in that corner. How was that experience of working with Sylvester?
Well, you know, Sylvester wrote, directed, and acted in this movie, and
right.
You know, I'm with Antonio Tarver. I'm Mason the Lion Dixon. I'm in his corner, but I'm looking at Sly work as a director and as an actor, and he just blew me away with his experience of how good he was.
He's very talented.
Oh, very talented.
And you remember after the time, it took us 6 days to do that boxing segment. Yeah. But after every segment that we shot, we would lean over the ropes and we look at the monitor, Antonio Tarver, Sylvester Stallone, and myself, to look and see if that looked authentic.
Yeah.
If it didn't, we said no. If we said yes, he said keep that one. Then they kept all the good segments. They kept them all together. Then at the end, they edited it. They put it together. Yeah. But he's also sits down with the editor, he does the whole thing.
No, everything.
As a director, producer, actor, you name it, he does it all.
Yeah, he does. And even in this, the first Creed, you know, it was, everybody thought that Sylvester Stallone wrote it and directed it, but it was actually a young director, Ryan Coogler from Oakland. At that time, he was like 28, but he wrote Creed, and he presented it to Rocky and the staff and all, and they bought it, you know, and he directed it. But on the second one, Rocky is. But let me add on that first one, Rocky put so much of his knowledge into that movie to make it authentic.
But not the second one. Now, what's happening in the second one? I just coming out real soon, I understand?
Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Okay, so now, what is Sylvester Stallone? What's his role in this movie? Does he come back into the ring?
Well, you got to watch the movie, bro.
Okay,
you know? And there's not a lot I can tell you outside of it's a hell of a script.
It's a trailer out there on it already.
Well, yeah, and there's going to be more trailers coming out, you know, and but the storylines are tremendous. Yeah. I can't give you too much into that,
right?
But the storylines are tremendous. To me, just to be part of the first Creed and then to be part of the second Creed, to work side by side now with Stallone. Who gets to be in the opposite corner one movie and then work with him in the corner in the other 2 movies?
Well, you know, it's amazing.
It's a blessing.
It is a blessing. But you're talking about fighters or a cut man working different corners. There was 2 fighters. I mean, they were great. We're talking about the kid that Mickey Ward versus Arturo Gatti. They fought 3 times. And then after they had those 3 battles, I mean, you guys got to watch those fights. I mean, go on YouTube, you see 3 of the best fights in boxing history. And they were only 10-round fights. They're not even championship fights.
Right.
But they were great fights. But after Arturo Gatti, both of them, they got for those 3 great fights. Mickey Ward ended up training Arturo Gatti for his other fights later on in his career before, you know, his tragic accident. Or tragic death.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's something. You get 2 guys fighting each other, 3 wars, and now they come back, and he's a trainer of his opponent. I mean, Mickey Ward to me is one of the nicest guys on this planet. So was Arturo Gatti, may his soul rest in peace. But things happen crazy in life, and here you are working with Sylvester and the Creed, and against him in the Rocky movie.
Yeah, and you're talking about Mickey Ward and Arturo Gatti. Kevin Kelly said a great quote that I'll never forget, and I always like to pass it on. He says, "When fighters fight, their souls touch."
Right.
So Mickey Ward and Arturo Gatti went through those moments where blood, sweat, and tears. They're breaking their, nice guys, nicest guys, but they respect each other, and that's why that happened to be. And that happens with so many other fighters. Even though there's a lot of mess talking around, at the end of the day, when you're out there in the ring throwing blows with somebody, there's a respect factor that you can't deny.
Exactly. That's why you see at the end of the fights, always you see the fighters, the last bell ring, you see they always embrace each other in 9 out of 10 cases. And you see that this is really a true loving sport in the sense, even though we're in the hurt business, but these guys really care about each other. I mean, we don't want to really hurt somebody. We just want to knock them out.
Yeah.
And get the win.
And it's funny you said knock him out because Eddie Mustafa Muhammad, a great champion in his days, said that. I interviewed him years ago, and he says, the ultimate goal of a fighter is to render his opponent unconscious.
Right.
And that's what you're talking about. That's the ultimate goal.
Right.
You don't want to win on a split decision or get a draw or just go the distance. The ultimate goal of a fighter is to knock somebody out.
It is better. Sometimes you feel we're in the hurt business or we don't want to hurt nobody really, but you'd rather just knock them out. They'll feel no pain, and you win.
That's a different analogy, man. I've never looked at it that way.
Well, I'm always thinking out the box, man.
But I guess you're right on that one, Joe.
But I tell you that, now there's other fights. Now, which is the highlight of your whole career in boxing?
God, I've had so many tremendous times. But, this last fight, Vladimir Klitschko, when he fought Anthony Joshua in Wembley Stadium in front of 90,000 people.
Right, that was big.
That was a powerful week for me because my daughter Carla had just gotten married in the island of Crete on Wednesday. So we were there for the week, and she got married Wednesday. Thursday morning, I flew straight to London. And so I didn't see Vladimir that day, Thursday, but I saw him in the dressing room Wednesday, and we're going, and Vladimir has a lot of confidence in me, right? So we're talking and all that, and finally I say, before we leave, I said, "Look, Vladimir, don't worry anything about tomorrow. I'm going to take care of you like you're my son." So I left it at that. Psychology, right?
Right.
Well, come fight time, in the middle of the ring, before Michael Buffer does an announcement, I'm putting the final Vaseline on Vladimir, and it's just him and I, right in the middle. And he tells me, this close, "You could call me son." And I thought, man, that just kind of hit my heart because, he's 6'6", 260 pound,
heavyweight champion
of the world for 10, 11 years. But I had that relationship with him.
That's good. And, I can see that because you're the kind of guy, you're a lovable kind of a guy. Yeah. You kind of get this guy, you want to kiss him. He's a good man. And that's the kind of guy.
What you talking about, Joe?
Hey,
no, that's a pleasure, man. No, you know what? And it's funny you say that because there's been many fighters that have done that and say, "I love you."
Well, that's what the sport is.
Exactly.
There are good people in the game, and me, I'm the kind of guy. I'm fair, but I'm firm. But you know what? But I'm a lovable guy too.
It's easy to do, man.
And that's because of my upbringing, and I think that loving people and caring for them and knowing where you came from is important. And some folks out there, they love us, they hate us. I love everybody. I've always said a lot of our shows, but that's how I feel. I hold no grudges. I love being around people. I love helping young folks out. And we're looking to start a program out here with the law enforcement academy involving with the FBI. And they were talking about starting a youth program here in Las Vegas. And they approached me last week at one of the meetings that we had. And I think that we're going to go forward with that. And we're looking forward to helping out. And that's what I love doing. Reaching out to our community leaders and see where help is needed, especially with the youth out there, the programs that will be available for them. There are programs out there right now, but there's not enough of them out there. And there's not enough of us going out and giving to the community what they need. We got to help guide these kids and put them on the right track. Like you and I, we grew up in poverty, tough times, but we weathered the storm, got out of it, going into military and boxing. You and I did the same. So that helped us open the doors and lead us in the right direction. And that's what we're trying to do today. with young kids out there.
And always give back. And, that's a good point because in my little town of 1,500 people, all farm workers, all low-income farm workers, when the first Creed movie came out, I went back home and we bought 100 tickets. So I helped put a boxing program together with the Merced County Sheriffs and the school district. So in my little town, these little guys are boxing. Right. So we did a fundraiser for them. First we went to the movie and the school furnished a bus for the boxing team. All the little kids went there. Had friends I grew up with from the migrant camps, and so we all watched the movie together. And then we did a fundraiser, and their goal was $10,000. Man, I got them $23,000, Joe. So just because you're low income, but you have a desire to fight, these guys are dressed sharp. They're wearing my Stich premium tape. And so I give back, and that's what we always have to do.
Exactly, and Durant, Stich, you don't have to really give that much of effort because that comes within you.
Easy, yeah,
it's in you already.
Yeah,
it's easy. So people say, how can I do that? It's very easy. You just got to step up to the plate and put your money sometime where your mouth is at, and you want to talk. You're talking about the community things are not going right, but you know what? Do something about it. Get involved. Get some other community leaders and other businessmen on your team and get things together so we can buy boxing equipment. It doesn't necessarily have to be boxing. You can go to any sport. The thing is to get these kids off the street, out of gangs, out of drugs. I mean, they can go the wrong way, but if they get somebody to get them on the right track again, they can be successful citizens in the community, and this is what we need. I believe in second chances. Just a couple of weeks ago, I went to a program here in Las Vegas called Hope for Prisoners. They're giving them a second chance. And that was a great program because it's put together by a gentleman by the name of Don Ponders, who's the CEO, president of this program. And once upon a time, he was an ex-convict. But he got together with some people and got the show going. It's helping people to get on the right track, give them a second chance. So we try to get these kids while they're young before they get to that level. We don't want them to go to have that experience of going to jail and get a second chance. Let's give them the second chance before it even happens. Let's do it now. We can do it. It's just a matter of you guys saying, yeah, Joe is right. Stich, Durant, my brother here, he's the same way. You get people in your community to say, let's help out.
You got to get back.
Got to give back.
And one good friend of mine, Polo Perez, he says, Stich, you really inspire us.
Right.
And as I'm driving home, it's an 8-hour drive from my hometown of Vegas. I'm driving home by myself, and I'm thinking about that quote, and I'm thinking, being inspiring them inspires me.
Exactly.
That gives me the energy to go forward into my next venture. And I did write a book called From the Fields to the Garden. The fields are that I grew up as a farm worker, and the garden was my goal was to make it to Madison Square Garden, where you've been there. I've done it, and but that story right there, what Paulo told me, you really inspire us. They inspire me.
Yeah, well, you just talked about something. You just touched a point. You said the garden, Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, of course.
I remember one time, two fighters in one night. You had to fight twice the same night, Madison Square Garden for the Eastern Golden Glove Championship. My brother Mike and I got to the semifinals and finals. I'm the last fighter to knock out two guys the same night in Madison Square Garden. And these guys were no palookas. These guys were top-notch champions in their respective states.
Sure.
It was for the Eastern Championships. Then my brother and I ended up going to Chicago to fight for the national championships, the New York versus Chicago intercity bouts. And we both took the nationals at the young age of 17. Yeah. So that's why I got my start with a great fighter. I always got to give him credit. Gaspar Indian Ortega, who had 185 professional fights. Yes, I said 185. And only got stopped twice. TKO. Once in the corner in between rounds, and once with Emma Griffith in the 11th round TKO. 185 fights. Gaspar Indian Ortega. Check him out on YouTube, and you can see how Gaspar, even on BoxRec, you see that 1 year, 1965, Gaspar Ortega had 27 fights in 1 year. There were some weeks he was fighting 2 or 3 times a week. Yeah. Okay? But anyway, that's boxing in the good old golden era of the days when I first started out as a boxer. And you know what? Boxing has always been in my blood ever since I met Gaspar Ortega at the age of 12. And here I'm still going. People say, Joe, you should retire. You retired from boxing as a referee. We thought you'd be out in Hawaii or some Caribbean island on just taking it easy and having some nice pina coladas, taking the sun in. No. I got to get out there every day and get out on the streets and do something. I'm always involved. I got to do things like I'm doing with my good friend here, Stich Durant. I love working with the community. I love working with kids. I love working with my team. We got Jackie, we got Dylan, we got Veronica, we got Charlie, we got Rick, and now we have Stich Durant, who's always been in my corner. And I know we can count on him if we need him for any programs with the kids. That's what I love doing. I'll never let any grass grow under my feet. I'm always moving, always moving. I got to do something. I got so much energy. I drink this nice little core drink, the energy drink, and it makes me feel like a new man every day. I get up, I'm ready to go.
I thought it was just natural skills, man.
Yeah, well, Stich, I want you to say a couple of good words before we wrap it up.
Well, no, listen, I want to thank you guys, for having me on the station. But, my goal has always been, well, let me go back. There was a time when I was learning to be a cut man when I was living in the Bay Area. And this one cut man did a good job working on a cut. So I went and said, I'm trying to learn to be a cut man. Can you tell me what you did? He literally says, F you, I'm taking this to my grave, and you got to learn just like me. Well, that kind of reinforced my thoughts is I don't never want to be like this man. My job at the end of the day, my legacy, if I have one, is that I make this game a lot safer for the fighters and all combat sports. Bare knuckle fighting, MMA, Muay Thai, boxing. That's what I want to leave as my legacy.
Well, you're doing a great job of it, Stich, and I want to just say that I want to thank you so much for being on our show with us, and hopefully we can have you again on in the near future. Fans out there, remember, I'm fair but I'm firm. Keep your guards up at all times, and remember, bob and weave, throw the jab, and don't get cut, right?
Don't get cut.
Okay, bye, champ.
All right, my man.